Hey guys, Coach Ed Haynes here, bringing you the fitness program, normally done by Ant, but he's currently out training and prepping for the Dubai Fitness Champs. Wishing the best of luck there. Just want to quickly talk about the next 4 weeks. We've kind of let the last 8 weeks run, that's why you didn't see a video or an update. But now we're entering a new 4-week block. Just want to talk to you real quick about our general focus for you fitness guys and girls. Firstly, we always tend to program in 4 to 8 week blocks. What that means is over a 4 to 8 week block, we'll follow a very similar stimulus, trying to get some very similar adaptations out from your training, whether that's absolute strength endurance, developing aerobic capacity, developing anaerobic capacity, so on and so forth. And then typically after that 4 to 8 week blocks, we would basically see how you've handled that stimulus, if you had the correct dose response, and then we just adapt and evolve the training. Thing is, for you guys, we have no specific competition schedule in mind. So we're just working towards general fitness, general physical preparedness kind of throughout that year. So typically you'll go from a 4 to 8 week accumulation cycle. And when we say accumulation, things we're thinking about are typically an increase in volume in terms of weight training volume, which means generally lighter loads, because if the reps are high, the weights have to be slightly lower. A lot of isolation, single arm movement versus double arm movement. Single limb work versus double limb. Spending a bit more time learning and acquiring skills in an isolated setting versus hitting our skills in kind of like a fatigue-based setting. On the flip side to that, typically after a 4 to 8 week block of accumulation work, we'll go into 4 to 8 weeks of intensification. So typically, just the opposite to that, we're thinking about a decrease or a reduction in training volume with regards to weight training, which means that we're going to be lifting heavier loads. So if in an accumulation phase, you're doing back squats, you're going to be doing something like 8 to 10 reps. In an intensification phase, you might be doing 4 to 5 sets of 5 to 6 reps. This is when we'll be pushing for things like 1 rep maxes, 3 rep maxes, 5 rep maxes. Increase in technical movements, not only in an isolated setting, but maybe under fatigue. So last block, for example, for some of us, we were doing cleans in a fatigue-based setting, followed by front squatting, whereas an accumulation cycle, you'll be doing cleans just by themselves. And then you're going to see mixed modal versus cyclical. That's when we're talking about energy system training. Typically in an accumulation cycle, we're going to be doing more cyclical work. So kind of like single modality work, rowing, assault biking, skipping, step ups, air squats. Whereas when we get into an intensification cycle for you guys, we're doing more mixed modal work. Burpees, dumbbell snatches, man makers, dumbbell squat cleans, that kind of stuff. Right now, we're about to enter back into an accumulation phase. So kind of go back to some rebuilding stuff, which you're going to notice in your program, a lot of single arm, single leg movement back in there, which we haven't seen for a while, and just increasing the repetitions again. Your week is laid out like so. Mondays, you're going to be doing some Bulgarian split squats, nasty single leg strength exercise, but so important in development of lower body strength, especially for anyone new in the sport or new to training. You're going to be doing some front squat EMOM work, single arm overhead pressing in your split stance. That's a new exercise for you guys. The Cossack type squat movements, you're going to see a little bit more of this. It's a hybrid kind of mobility and strength exercise. So we develop single leg strength in a Cossack squat, but it also really works on improving adductor and hamstring mobility. That's only going to help you with things like squatting mechanics, deadlifting mechanics. Tuesdays, we're developing some upper body absolute strength and hypertrophy, so still kind of higher rep range stuff. We're going to do some fatigue straight arm work, which is where you guys are doing your assault bike work into those wall walks. Again, it's taking wall walking out from an isolated setting and now putting it under fatigue, learning how to breathe and brace at the same time whilst developing some isometric overhead strength. Wednesday is still a rest day for you guys, of course. Thursday, you're going to be doing some overhead absolute strength. We're going to work with a push press, and you're going to see on Fridays you're going to do split jerk. Next week, we're actually going to split those 2 days to give you guys a bit of a rest between upper body days. We saw a lot of you saying you were tired this week, so we're taking that into consideration. You're going to do some cyclical mixed modal EMOM style work at the moment. So for example, you saw minute 1, you're doing some rowing work, and then into some upper body strength, lower body strength, and into the assault bike. That was for about 20 minutes. It's going to look like an EMOM format for the first 1 to 2 weeks. And then we'll move into AMRAPs where you're getting less rest in between pieces. And then we might put that in a testing format where you might do let's say 3 to 5 rounds for time with a stimulus. So the EMOM setting gives us a little bit more rest between movements. As we get towards rounds for time, we actually want you to test it, but that's how we train up to that. Fridays, you're going to see your clean and jerk, technical work. No, we're not going to be testing you guys ever really on like a really heavy clean and jerk. But for now, we're very new to it, so it's just learning the mechanics of it. Please be patient with it. Remember that Olympic lifting, is probably the most technical part of CrossFit. So don't be frustrated. It's a journey. As long as you walk away from every session learning one thing and seeing an improvement one thing, that's a win. Then, yeah, you're going to continue with some double leg strength with some front squatting, back squatting work, and then you're going to do some touch and go deadlifting. Now, remember, touch and go work, very different skill from just doing a heavy deadlift off the floor. So make sure you're listening to the coaches and learning that skill of being able to touch weight off the floor and come back up. It's a very important skill to use when we go into conditioning pieces. Saturdays, we're going to combine the 3 groups together. Each 3 group will be doing something slightly different, but the idea is to get everyone working together as a team. Please make sure on those Saturdays you're introducing yourself to people you don't know. It's a great chilled out day, and the programming kind of reflects that at the moment. A few little reminders for you guys. Mobility and movement, we can't stress this enough. Myself and Hightown, some of the other coaches, are really working hard to compile a YouTube library of technique videos, movement videos, mobility exercises, and just some educational pieces. That is a free resource for you guys to use. You'll see with the workout every day on Wodify, we'll post a mobility segment for you to do. On your rest day, which is a Wednesday, I'd highly recommend getting onto that YouTube channel, sifting through the videos, playing around with it at home, 90% of which you don't need equipment for at all, just kind of a yoga mat or a bit of space at home. Make sure you're looking after yourselves. A few people have been asking me how they move from fitness to performance. Thing is, with the programming for fitness, we don't really gear it towards performance-based CrossFit, simply because for the vast majority of you, pretty much all of you, it's not something that you need. We generally need to start by building foundational strength and some basic aerobic energy systems, as well as teach you some skills along the way. We do have some requisites in terms of who can join our performance program. We're more than happy to go through that with you if you think you're ready. But generally, you guys have to kind of seek one-on-one help. And that's my last point, is we have a really good coaching team here. And most people within a lot of people within the group trainings program are getting accessory work with coaches. Of course, it is a luxury service. It's a bit more expensive. But if you are serious about your training, highly advise talking to one of us coaches, getting an assessment done for free, and then seeing if it's a good solution for you. That's it, guys. Keep up the great work, and until next time.